Okay, as they say in golf, we have made the turn and we're playing the back nine. Now, in the last module, we covered the best and most reliable interview process. It's structured, it's planned, it's never random. So what's the rookie mistake here? Well, it's to rely solely on those interviews and make the hiring decision. And I'm sure you might be guilty of this. At some point, we have a great interview, we get so excited, and we say, hey, I found my head of sales, and we make the hire. And that's a mistake. Well, why is it a mistake? First of all, as I mentioned in an earlier module, interviews are only moderately predictive. Second, 81% of people lie to you during job interviews. But here's the most important. A best candidate is not necessarily the best interviewer, and vice versa. Let me tell you what I mean. I'm sure you've interviewed potentially some introverted candidates, and they're quiet, right? It's kind of a quieter, more mellow type of approach, but they could be just a killer in the job. And vice versa. You've probably interviewed some people just right out of central casting, only to find they kind of fall flat when it comes time to do the work. So never confuse a great interviewer for a great candidate. And that's why I'm about to introduce you to the number one single most predictive part of the entire recruiting process. It's the test drive. Now, think of the interview as just hypothetical, right? It's just talking. Whereas the test drive is actually doing. Just like I wouldn't buy a car without taking it for a test drive, I never, ever hire anyone without taking a test drive. There's nothing that comes close. In fact, if you forced me to skip every other part of this process, that would be the one that remains. Okay, so what's the test drive? Well, it simulates the work that this person will be expected to perform in the job. So if you're serious about hiring Rockstars, you want to make this a fixture for every role you hire. Whether it's a CEO or you're hiring an administrative assistant, whether it's a head of marketing or some assembly line manager, doesn't matter. Some people call it a job audition or a dry run. Doesn't matter what you call it, it's important. Think about a summer college internship. That's probably the ultimate test drive, right? And we've maybe had some college internships, and in 10 weeks, your manager gets to see you in action. It's a great test drive. But whether you don't always have 10 weeks, right? So whether it's 10 weeks or 10 days or 10 hours, this is highly predictive of how they're actually going to perform on the job. Now, I know what you're thinking. How could I possibly ask candidates to do this and go through this and spend their time? And you'll be surprised. Actually, candidates love the test drive because it gives them an insider's view into the company, into the position, the work they're going to do. They also get a chance to see their manager in action. Am I going to relate and have chemistry with this person? So ironically, while you might be concerned about it, it actually increases your acceptance rate. I find it to be just a great tool. Now, in most cases, when you do a test drive, you're not going to be looking for a specific answer. Instead, you're going to be looking for how the individual thinks. What is their approach to solving the job and the challenge? Do they take a creative approach? Can they even follow simple instructions? That's been a big one for me. Attention to detail, interaction with your team, all kinds of things. But you're not looking for the right answer. You're looking for how they go about it. And here's the thing. You can assume that this is the best work you're ever going to see out of this person because they're on their A game. They're trying to impress you. So if you're not impressed with those things, you can pretty much stop right there. Now, there are some subtleties to doing the test drive. So in the next lesson, I'm going to take you through it step by step on how to execute. But for now, some homework. So just get your hands into the briefcase online and read the sample test drives that I've included just to get a feel for some examples. And I'll see you in the next lesson where I'll show you exactly how to take your candidates for the test drive.